are we on the cusp of banking crisis 2.0? Not sure if you guys have heard, but Bank of California is buying Pac West. And lo and behold, good old Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan's has his hand in the cookie jar because he is also buying almost $2 billion in mortgages from Pac West. I think he's getting a discount. But let's see what's what from the one and only Jonathan from Convoy Home Loans. What's going on, man?
Hey, big news. Obviously, we have our master puppeteer, Jamie, in the works.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and he is actually getting a discount per the article that came out this morning that we were reading, which, we thought we actually had a conversation, you and us, that we thought the banking crisis wasn't over, right? It was just
I
kind of
remember.
it took a little pause. It wasn't over because there's still a lot of banks, especially with the commercial crisis going on and the lending crisis overall. It's just there's people are having a hard time, I think, holding their notes and selling off their notes. So
Yeah.
what they basically did, it looks like to me that Bank of California doesn't have the liquidity to buy basically the assets that the PacWest had before, because PacWest was a huge buyer of these
Yep.
like residential loans, right? They were one of the biggest buyers, and they had these huge packages of residential loans. Bank of California obviously doesn't have the liquidity to fill that. So they
Mm.
probably called in, hey, Jamie, you want to
Need
come
a
in
little
and
help,
buy
buddy.
these things? Yeah, you want to buy these things on a discount. And, Jamie being Jamie, he knows, if he buys it at a discount, it's worth a lot more. And
Yeah.
I think he's going to flip it. I think he's going to sell it off to different investors for a
Yeah.
higher price to get more liquidity back. Because the loans that I think PacWest bought and was buying, I mean, a lot of them were non-QM loans, but
Mm.
I don't think it was like bad loans. They
Yeah.
wrote little bit of risky loans, which is kind of what got them in a little trouble, high
Mhm.
leverage, whatever. Because I know
Yep.
there were lenders like Civic using them, like selling directly to them, and that was the bank that was backing them, and Civic obviously went under. So they were writing these like kind of riskier loans, buying these riskier loans, and then especially PacWest said, "Hey, we can't do this anymore. Civic, you're done. We're not buying your loans anymore."
Mhm.
And now they're in PacWest in a situation where they can no longer, I think, mitigate risk anymore. So they're
Yep.
like, okay, we're done. Someone buy us. Bank of California came in. And I think for the mortgage market, it just shows you like at the end of the day, like so many people put so much emphasis on like, oh, the end buyer, the lender or the bank that buys my loan, like and services the loan, that's who I need to trust. At the end of the day, like these things are traded like
Yes.
stocks.
Yep.
So, people put so much emphasis on like, oh, if JP Morgan holds my note, I'm okay. But it's like, no, they sell these things, buy these things like stock. So, it doesn't really matter. And obviously in the mortgage market, the banks have no loyalty to the client
Oh
most
yeah.
times.
No
Yeah.
loyalty. Yeah.
So, so because of that, I think the residential market obviously is showing that JP Morgan still has belief in the residential market, right? Which is why they're buying these assets, or else they'd say no, I'm not buying these things.
Yeah.
But JP Morgan has slightly, like quietly, been buying a lot of like non-QM packages, like starting a few months ago.
Yep.
So this is, I think, just adding into their portfolio. They're probably going to sell off a few
Mhm.
at a premium, and I think it gives more strength to the residential market than people may think, just because it gives, I think, a little more validity to it.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be buying assets that are defaulting or dying,
Yeah.
because that's built into the risk factor. So I think, but the caveat to this is, these like the players that were in non-QM are kind of dying out.
Yes.
So we've been actually getting a lot of loans from the banks, the big banks, on like different ways to creatively finance, and that's coming more into play. We just did, Dustin and I did two deals where we cross collateralized properties, to get more leverage for the property. We got the clients like 70, 75%, and when the bank was only offering like 55%. So we were able to get that extra. And obviously by cross collateralizing, that means it's, two or three properties that are kind of looped into one loan,
Mhm.
but the equity is shared. So it actually splits the risk
Yep.
across properties that have a lot of equity without having to sell those properties. And then they can always, kind of recuperate that and have that, lien removed once they sell the property or do whatever they want with it. So it doesn't
Yeah.
stop them from doing that, but it allows them to increase their leverage when they purchase a house. And that's kind of like, the things that I think will be more popular as we go forward, especially with the big banks kind of focusing more on like, hey, we have to like mitigate risk.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things going on. I definitely think there's a looming liquidity crisis in banking, PacWest just being the latest example. There will be more. I also think, unfortunately, the big will get bigger, right? JP Morgan is a for-profit institution. Jamie Dimon's doing nothing more than buying by the foot and selling by the inch, right? He's going to get a discount on a big thing, and then he's going to tranche it, and he's going to make a gazillion dollars. Bank of, or PacWest won't be the last one acquired. There will be more non-QM space. Less lending will be going on. I think that is clear. I think people have to work with professionals who are creative. The fact that you guys went out and essentially created cross collateralization for one of your borrowers just shows you the level, because that's not easy. That's a lot of work. And I think having a mortgage broker that's invested like that is going to be pretty important for the next couple of years, easy. And I would argue probably gets more important every month going forward, because liquidity is just being sucked out of the system.
Yeah, agreed. And commercial market is the biggest indicator of that right now. I think more than the residential market too, because people actually are buying right still, but commercial is just it's tough right now across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a couple of buyers of commercial properties, big buyers, but good operators, not these fly-by-night financial engineers. One of them's trying to buy a hotel, a boutique hotel. They had an LOI. I think it was 70%, and then it went 65, now 60. And the bank's just dragging their feet. And it's a decent sized bank, definitely a regional bank, but decent size. And what they're finding out is the bank really can't lend because they have to stack cash, given they're probably, technically insolvent. I don't know that for sure, but that certainly feels like what's going on, right? Pay a higher savings rate, attract money, don't send money out the door with new loans. I mean, you can look at the chessboard and guess what's going on.
Yeah, it's a little scary. People are acting like things are done. Like the common folk are acting like everything's good. Like, Powell says the economy's solid. It looks like the numbers are good. So we are, if everyone's acting like we're in the clear, but obviously real estate, like we've talked about before, lending always gets hit first prior to, anything else kind of trickling to everything else. And lending is getting hit, right? And the people that are, I'm going to use awake in a different sense, right? Awake in the sense of like looking at the actual market as it is. In the financial markets, I mean, stocks, whatever, they're still hitting highs and such, but in the lending market, like things are tightening up like crazy right now. And I think people are going to start feeling that more and more as the market continues to like show its fake strength. And we'll see what happens, but it's looking kind of scary out here.
Yeah. So folks, if you want to get involved in this, video number 1, we talked about 30-year money on commercial. You got to go get that today. Why have that risk? If you need a partner in crime who's going to cross collateralize, I'm going to figure out how to say that word eventually, or just work for you, how would they reach out to you, Jonathan?
Go to convoyhomeloans.com and let us know you came from where at.
All right. Thank you very much.